since the Cotton Bowl and everything with Tulane. After that game, what's the process for you, just knowing some things need to change with the defense? Where do you start going forward from that?
You start with individual calls, and so basically you rehash the entire season, and then you kind of start with explosive plays, and you kind of rip the band-aids off real quick, and so you start with the negative, and that's the appropriate thing to do. And you first look at it through the lens from a coaching staff standpoint. Okay, what can we do to affect the behavior of our guys? Can we put them in a better situation to be successful? And it takes a lot of discipline, and it takes a lot of maturity in that as a coaching staff to go through it, because you're rehashing the most frustrating plays of the season, and it's fresh. We're in the day after the game, but and so you look at it through that lens, and then you're saying, okay, what can we do? What you have to do in those moments, you have to have an honest evaluation. You've got to make sure that you look at it from the standpoint of if it's as simple as, all right, there's a guy that should be in the position to make a play, he's not there. Well, that it sounds simple enough, but why? And then part of the evaluation that makes it really difficult, if you say X, Y, and Z should happen, it didn't. Is there something we can go back from a preparation standpoint and remind ourselves to believe that maybe it goes back to just that, and we prepare in a better way. Other situations, the guys at the point of attack is in a position to make a play. How can we help them make a play next time? But what you don't do is just don't throw your hands up and pound and play victim, and then you attack from the mindset of, okay, let's look at it through the lens of situational calls, and so you kind of break it down that way, and look at red zone defense. You look at it through third down. You look at it through P and 10, first and 10, and so it's a comprehensive study, and you've got to look at it once again, and ultimately those plays show up quite a bit, right? So you watch it over and over again, and then you look at it. Okay, what can you do from a physical standpoint? So often you got what's the most tangible thing you can do in January. You come off, you're disappointed. We went through what a lot of basketball teams are going through right now, which they didn't get out the first weekend. That happens, and it doesn't dismiss. Those kids won 11 games, and they deserve credit for that. So you don't dismiss that. But what's the most tangible thing that we can do in the moment? It's bigger, faster, stronger. And so you attack in that mindset. So it's all encompassing, and it's ongoing. And then what you do is then you take it on the practice field and say, okay, well these are the things, some adjustments, what maybe you want to make. Is there a coaching point? It may not be big picture scheme, but it may just be simply, are we asking an individual guy to do the appropriate thing within that scheme? And then you look at it through the lenses that we call testimony, or the drills that we're doing. Does it show up on film? And if it doesn't, we need to change the drill, change the coaching point, and at some point possibly change the person. But that's final steps. What we want to do is change the player, right? As opposed to looking through the lens and just simply changing the person. Fire guys, and let's move on. Next guy. No, let's just change the player. Let's get bigger, faster, stronger, and put them in the best situation we possible. And let's coach them up. Let's put the reps on it, and that's what spring is. So you flip the page and you move forward. And as a competitor, you don't ever get over it, but as a professional, you got to move on.
What do you think led to that disconnect between maybe what you guys try to teach and what was going on the field during games?
I think it's ongoing. I don't think anything specific to us is unique. It's a lack of consistency, and where's that consistency come from? You got to go back to preparation. I think other instances, it's you got to make sure that you have the strength to execute at appropriate level. You got to be able to get off blocks. The unblocked guy has to make tackles, and then we got to look at it through the lens of how do we do unblock guys there in certain situations. Then you got to look at it through the lens of, are we asking the guys to do the appropriate things, or are we, are there calls you want to have back? Absolutely, that always happens, and you can't dumb it down to that either. I think we've talked about this. The baseball example, you throw a curveball and they hit it out of the park. You can't just say, well, we should have tried a fastball. That's not how the sport works. And so it's the same thing for us, man, zone, 3 down, 4 down. Rushing 5, rushing 4. Should we drop 8 more? Should we play with 2 high more? Should we ask certain guys to do other roles? No, it's a difficult process. Not one that you want to go through, but it's not unique. It happens every single year. And if you win 11 games, you're awfully excited about the 11 that you win, and you're devastated by the ones you lose. And then that doesn't matter if you win them all. So, which obviously the end goal. So the work continues.
How much do the returning guys look like returners in your system, and is there anybody standing out in that category?
Oh, it's exciting, and what you can't do when you're talking about this is you can't, and we've challenged the guys this way, you can't just simply say, well, it's year 2, so all things are going to be better, just the natural progression of we're older, we're bigger, whatever, and then so we describe it to the guys, it can't be year 1 2.0, where we're saying the exact same thing every single day. So practice 1 of spring football is just regurgitation, and practice 1 of last spring football. We're starting over from square one. Now, there's so much things that you roll it, dial it back, and then you make sure that you're starting from square one. But they got to have a responsibility on their part to act like they played 14 games last year. There's guys that were an 8-game starter, 9-game starter, whatever it is. They got to bring those experiences with them. And they should beat the coaches to some of the coaching points. And an older guy that's been around says, well, these are expectations how we practice. There's also guys that didn't have success that look at it through the lens of, okay, well, maybe, just maybe, if I do some of these things that we're talking about, my success rate can go up because I tried it a different way and it didn't work. So all those things, guys just come with a knowledge base that way. You're not, installing everything, every technique, every drill, expectations, all those things. So, no, believe me, everybody loves year 2 compared to year 1, but that's not the magic elixir either. There's no magic bullets to this thing. So we have a responsibility to just, stack days and work harder. But there's a bigger unit, there's a stronger unit. I think it's a very confident unit, it's something that is ongoing because you got to go do it on the field. I mean, you can do that in the offseason, but you got to do it through spring football and all those things. It's been good.
How soon after the game did you go back and watch it, and how long did it really stick with you and just kind of linger with you?
No, that's something you do the next day. I mean, you watch something play right home and all that stuff, but that's normal. That's part of it. Does it stick with you? Again, from a profession, you got to move on. You just do. You don't make excuses. You don't allow yourself to fall into, like we talked about, ain't no victims here. We signed for high expectations, and when you win, we celebrate, and when we don't, we circle the wagons, and we come back and we work harder for it. Year 2 was coming, whatever year 1 was going to be, and obviously our expectations for year 1 were high, and then we reached some of those. The player of the year in the conference, the top teams in the country in takeaways. Those kids won 11 ball games, and they deserve. You can't just discredit the things that they didn't do well. You got to give them credit for the things that didn't. And from a coaching staff standpoint, what you do is you expect the bullets to be aimed at you, and you take those bullets, it's aimed in the right place, and take ownership for it, and that's what we've done.
How much do you study the jump that your defense took in the second year or as you try to figure out the next steps this year?
Yeah, I think it's different players. I mean, it's different challenges in terms of the weekend, different opponents and all that stuff. So you don't want to be too naive to that. Just, again, say that the magic bullet is a calendar went from year 1 to year 2. But you also draw confidence that guys have an understanding of where they need to be, what they need to do, and the expectations. Just through 4 days, are we coaching effort like we had to do in January? And I know, or December. Fortunately, we didn't know that we got to go back, and we had coach effort in December. But that's just part of the process. And as we say, you can't microwave it. You got to go through it. And we also have to make sure as you go through it is that at USC we're not afraid of the struggle. We're not afraid of the hard parts, the hard stuff. We weren't talking last year about how easy year 1 was going to be. I don't remember that question coming up. It was going to be hard. And again, that continues. So year 2, my point is the easy part's not coming. It's a talented league. We got talented opponents, but also, yeah, absolutely. Because there's confidence being around the guys. It is ultimately they got to go make plays and they do the right things. We got to put them in a position to do so. And we have a lot of confidence with them.
Thank you, Coach.